Hey guys, you're listening to the Shift Training channel,
where we talk about personal growth, we talk about mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health, and just overall well-being.
And today we'll be covering motivation and discipline, two of my favorite words.
To get it, how can I get back to feeling motivated?
Yes. How can I get back to feeling motivated? This is an important question. This happens all the time. There'll be times where you're all about it, and there's times where you're just like, I don't want to do it.
You just all the time. Yeah, it happens.
You just don't feel like doing it. Motivation. I think one of the old school quotes, and I'm not even going to remember where it comes from right now. My mind is blanking. But it's essentially like motivation is like taking a shower. You need to initiate or trigger or create that motivation every day. Just like you need to take a shower, you need to bathe. Well, you're going to have to splash on or bathe yourself in motivation every day. It's not like it comes and it's supposed to last and stay whatever. It's like not a character trait. It's something that happens and you continue to do it. It's a state. So how can you get back to feeling motivated? I think the key is being able to reconnect with what motivated you in the first place or finding a new motivation. So either connecting with what motivated you before or finding a new motivation. And motivation basically just something that's going to spark you, right?
Yeah. I like what you said about like going back to the motivation from before and creating a new one, because we evolve as humans and our priorities or our goal might change, and motivation is the same thing. And I think our mind needs to be stronger on our feeling. And as you mentioned, motivation is just a spark. It's like eating a candy bar. You get that sugar rush, and then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's what are you going to do with that spark? Yeah. What are you going to do with that energy? And I think that's kind of what helps us get into our next question. So, Juan, what do we got for our next question?
Just going back a little bit with that motivation, let's go back.
So go ahead. We got motivation. We good. Go.
It's just like sometimes, when we don't feel like, let's say, you don't feel like working out, today or the next day. But as soon as you get into that action, you feel motivated again. You just feel that spark of motivation or that dopamine.
That's true. You'll find yourself sometimes you'll find the motivation in the action. That's another way to get back to feeling motivated.
Exactly.
Is stepping into it.
Yeah. All right. So the next question is, how can I be more disciplined?
My favorite. How can I be more disciplined? Oh. A lot of people don't. This is one of those things where I get in trouble with people because I grew up with a martial arts background, and discipline is a very big deal there. Discipline is where, there's the part of the grit your teeth and bear it kind of thing. And people perceive discipline kind of like that. Like, oh, I have to do something I don't want to do. And to me, it's kind of like there's a level of truth to that. But the way that I view discipline is a little bit different. Discipline to me boils down to consistency and the willingness to commit to something. So for example, it's not too hard to be disciplined or push through the thing you don't want to do the thing you have to do, which is how most people view it. When you go, I'm committed to this life. When you think there's not really any other thing that I would do. There's not anything else that I want to do. Even if there's something I kind of want to do in the moment, I know in the scope of my life, I want to move this direction. It makes it a lot easier to be disciplined. So I think discipline for me boils down to being committed and consistent with something. And that makes it easier to be disciplined. And at the same time, you don't always want to rely or depend upon discipline, because I do also think that discipline comes into play when there's something that you don't really want to do. So for example, if 90% of the time when you're working on something, you feel like you have to use discipline to survive or make it through that. Like 90% of the time, whenever you activate or take action on a specific task, it requires discipline of you. I think that you might have a good reason or a good intention for doing so, but it probably doesn't align with what you really value or what you really want in your life. Because the amount in which what I've heard, like Tom Bilyeu or Andy Frisella, like I've heard a lot of other very successful people, and I feel this in my own life, is there's a percentage of things that you're not going to like, and you'll need discipline and you need to execute those things. But there should be way more stuff in your life or in that process that you do enjoy or want to do or gets you going, or you feel challenged, there should be more there, more positive there, pulling you towards it, versus discipline where you have to feel like you have to push yourself or force yourself there.
Yeah, for sure. I agree 100%. So how can you be more disciplined? Yeah, I think first you have to like establish your goal. You know, you need to be very specific. What is that goal? Sometimes you don't even know what is your goal. You know, you need to have that clarity. And as Tom Bilyeu calls it, you know, you need to create that bright lines. So that basically means, you know, like creating your own rule for yourself. So that way you won't have to make any excuses, and it increases your self-credibility for yourself. You know, like for example, I'm going to wake up 7 a.m. the next morning. You better wake up in the 7 a.m. in the morning. Make no excuses, you know, so create that bright lines or your own rules for yourself. And I think the next one is, you know, if you want to be more disciplined, create like some sort of like trigger for yourself. What I mean by that is not like trigger, you're going to get reacted in a, you know,
not a negative way.
Exactly. But let's say you want to make it a habit to work out daily. So what you can do, maybe you can set up your shoes or your workout clothes next to your bed. So when you wake up in the morning, you see it. All right, it's a trigger. No excuses, you know?
It's right there.
Exactly. You don't have to go to your closet and take out your clothes. It's already out there. Less energy. It's hard to not make excuses when it's already there, you know?
Absolutely. No, for sure. And again, back to the actual question, how can you be more disciplined? I think it's, like you said, it's easier to be more disciplined when you reduce the amount of energy that's necessary to take the action. So something you really don't want to do takes a lot more energy. You have to muster up so much more willpower to take the action. You know, reduce it. Put the bag there, prep yourself, like make it as easy as possible for you to follow through on the thing you want to follow through. And also being connected with your why, using that motivation to spark you, to give you the energy that you need to move into what you want to move into, what you want to move into. And it might not be just like in the moment what I want, but truly in the core, or this action helps you manifest what you want in your life later, a month later, 2 weeks later, but just not hedonic in this moment pleasure. We can ignore that. I'm just going to say straight up, just ignore that. You can do that. Connecting with why, reducing the friction, all those things help you to be more disciplined, and of course, practice.
Yeah. And maybe what you can do is, just depending on your personality, you can create like important lists, what you need to, you know, like the priority list in the mornings. That way you don't have to worry about it later. Because sometimes when we hold that priority list or that agenda that we're supposed to be doing later in the day, we're too tired. You know what you can do? Maybe do it in the morning. So that way it's on the checklist. It's done. So yeah.
Do it when you have the most energy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. So our next question is, what is the role of motivation?
What is the role of motivation? Okay. Well, we talk about it a little bit. You know, I think the role of motivation is for you to take that action. It leads to action. But this concept of motivation is, it's the part where most people think motivation is the one that will lead you to success without any action. You know? Think of the time when you watch binge watch YouTube videos about motivational speech. Get you pumped, but it doesn't lead you anywhere. It's like we mentioned, it's like a candy bar. It give you that sugar rush in, but that's it.
Right.
You know? So the formula for that success, you know, you need to take action, which leads to success. Then you get motivated, and then you get that, like spark of dopamine inside your body, so that way you can continue.
Right.
You know, I think what's important about that is like, another way is, you know, you need to forget your goal. You know, and focus on the process.
Being present right in the moment.
Exactly. And I think a great example is Arnold, you know, the Mr. Olympian, the reigning champion.
The governor.
Exactly, the bodybuilder. You know, there's an interview that he mentioned. He said that I forget about my goals, you know. That doesn't necessarily mean that completely forgot it. But what he meant is like, forget that goal because it can get overwhelming. But what he did was he focused on the daily grind, the reps and sets throughout the day. And then once you accomplish that, you get that motivation, and then you want to keep going.
Right. Yeah, I think motivation, like you said, there's kind of a cycle or loop that happens. Wait. Yeah, cycle or loop that happens or happens. Nonetheless, so I think the role of it is simple. Motivation is to take your motive or your intention, and when you're connected to that properly, there should be a spark or feeling, energy generated within your body that you use to take action. That's why it's like motivation should be, something that you touch or connect with daily, like taking a bath, just like eating breakfast, just like some people skip breakfast, lunch, whatever, like eating food. You do it because it provides the energy, the catalyst, what you need in order to execute and do whatever it is you're trying to do. So I think the role of motivation is to help supply energy, is to help you to move. Motivation to move.
Yeah, and another way or another tip per se to say about motivation is we need to create that why list. I think that's one of the reasons will make you continue to throughout your goal. Because if you know your why,
At the core,
a great example is maybe your goal is to win a race or win a marathon or whatever it is, and your reason why is I want to pay the bills for my mom, or like I want to pay the hospital bill or whatever it is. So like keep asking yourself why, then until you get to the core.
Yeah, far into the core, deep emotional core. If you haven't done enough whys to the point where you start to feel something like resistance in your body, you haven't gone far enough. There might not even be resistance. You might be open to it. You might discover something and you'd be like, oh, I'm doing this because of this past reason is when I was younger. Some of the things that I've heard from like even Dean Graziosi or other people when they get to their core why, it's kind of like, I do this because I want people to have options, because growing up, I never had those options and I know how terrible that feels. And I don't want anyone to feel that way. There's all kinds of reasons. So getting to your core why, if you can touch that whenever you want, you're gonna get some energy.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, you can have motivation from external, and also motivation from internal. So that why list that you're going to create is going to come from your head into your heart. When you find out that core, it's going to come from your heart.
Stack up the whys. So next question is, what is the role of discipline?
I think we already touched base on that a little bit. I think the role of discipline is to make you stay top on your game, and stay focused. And just work on the process. And I think the more disciplined you are, you don't even have to think about discipline because you're already disciplined.
You just live that life.
It becomes like second nature for yourself.
I agree. I think the role of discipline is it's to sharpen. It's like a sword. If I was a swordsmith or a warrior or whatever, I need to make that sword pristine. And I need to keep it sharp, or whatever it may be, whatever tool you prefer to use. But I believe discipline is to help keep focused, is to help provide consistent results. Again, I associate discipline and consistency pretty closely. Like you can be a very disciplined ice cream eater, but that might not mean you're the most disciplined in terms of your health or well-being, unless for some reason the ice cream is just making you incredibly fit and whatever. Like if it's working out for you, it's working out for you. But, I would venture to say, being a disciplined ice cream eater doesn't mean you're the most disciplined with your nutrition or physical health.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that we all might be disciplined in something and we might not just know what it is. We might be very disciplined and consistent and diligent in calling our friends to gossip about whatever nonsense and very
mediocre people.
Very, very disciplined. So for those who say, oh, I'm not very disciplined or I can't do it, just look at anything in your life that you do on repeat consistently. that sometimes you still do even when you don't want to do it, and it might be for unhealthy reasons. There's discipline even there. I challenge you to find healthier ways to apply that discipline. I challenge you to find better ways to take the motivation and then channel it towards something that you want that will be good for your well-being and maybe even those around you as well. And keep doing it. That's the discipline. Discipline to me is chopping wood, sharpening the weapon. It's everything that it's the thing that gives you consistent results. Period. If you want to maintain momentum and continue to prosper, discipline is going to be required.
Right. And it's how ironic, the more disciplined you are, your life gets easier, you know?
Unless you're disciplined in things that will destructive.
Exactly.
You can be disciplined in destructive things and it will equally build momentum like that. It'll just be like going down.
Exactly. Yeah. You the more disciplined, the positive discipline you are, you know, the healthier you get, you know, like your life gets better. Like, let's say you work on your health, you know, like you don't have to be worrying about feeling lethargic or the disease that you might, you know, get from not being disciplined with your health.
I want to be undisciplined right now. Eat some ice cream straight up.
Let's do it.
Not straight up. All right, cool. All right, guys. So that's it for motivation and discipline. Remember, motivation is about creating that spark. It's the spark. It's the energy to help you take action. It's to help you move. You need to be able to connect with that. You need to be able to generate it. You might have to revisit where your original motivation was, but the role of it is to help you move. And then discipline is we're going to apply that energy. We're going to apply it probably towards the task that requires the most energy until it becomes a habit and requires less energy. And that's kind of where you want to apply the discipline. So is there anything else, Juan, or is that it for today?
That's it for us.
All right. Well, you guys, please, if you rate, review, like, comment, subscribe at Shift Own Your Life or Shift Training right here on YouTube. If there's anything else that you'd like to present to us, ask us questions. If you enjoyed any of this content, please share it. It helps us grow. It helps us to serve more people. Your contribution matters to us. Anything else?
That's it.
All
right. Peace.
Peace.